Thank you so much for joining me on the mat today. This is the prenatal friendly flow, and we're going to focus on our pelvic floor and different stretches, so a little bit more of a slower and a calmer one. I'm going to use the squishy ball for some of the moves. This is just an option if you have one at home. Just help us with that engagement, but you definitely don't need it as well. So just wanted to give you the option there if you did want it, but no pressure at all. If you don't have a ball, I'll cue everything with and without the ball. Okay. We're going to start seated in a comfortable position. For me that's cross-legged, but whatever that looks like for you, you can always bring something behind your bum to prop you up as well. If you have got that ball, we're just going to bring that in between your hands, in between your chest, so just like this. Closing down your eyes, and we just start taking deep breaths in through your nose and exhaling out through your mouth. Okay, so just tuning into firstly your body, checking in how you're feeling in your body and in your mind. Are your sit bones engaged with the mat? Are your shoulders down your back? And maybe just do some roll outs of your jaw to just release any tension. Now we're going to tune into that breath. We inhale through your nose. On that exhale through your mouth, can you start finding a slight squeeze of that squishy ball? We inhale, we release. We exhale, find that slight squeeze of that squishy ball. Keep going like this. That exhale, where if you've got a squishy ball, you're squeezing it slightly, is when your pelvic floor is engaged. I'm just going to show you, if you don't have the ball, you can bring your hands onto your ribs. On that inhale, you're going to start to feel that separation. On that exhale, your hands come together. So you can start with your index fingers together. Inhale, feel those ribs expanding wide. On that exhale, same prospect or idea as the ball, you draw those squeeze those hands together. So keep doing a couple more breaths like this. Exhale, you're squeezing that ball, squeezing those ribs together. Your pelvic floor is engaging. It's drawing all the way up. Inhale, you release. Final breath like this. On that exhale, you're finding that slight lift, that engagement through that pelvic floor. And then we slowly start to release. Gently start blinking open your eyes. Just drop that ball for a second if you haven't. Can we circle those arms out, around and up, interlace your hands, reach up and over to one side, just opening up through your ribs, opening up through your side body. We come back to center, reach up, and then over towards the opposite side. It should feel quite nice to feel that fanning open of those ribs. We come back to center, really big reach towards the ceiling. Circle those arms out, around and down, shoulders roll back. Shoulders roll forward. Okay, we're going to find a 4-point kneeling position. I'm just going to mirror you. So you're going to turn over towards your left hand side. If you've got that ball, we're going to place that ball in between your knees. Okay. If you don't have the ball, of course, you just meet me in that 4-point kneeling position. Your hands are underneath those shoulders. Those knees are underneath those hips. We're going to start with a cat-cow. You drop your belly down, your eye gaze lifts. And then you scoop your belly, eye gaze comes towards your knees. So just find this flow of that cat-cow. It should feel really nice to just allow your tummy to feel supported. Focusing on that lower pelvic areas, that lower part of your spine, really dropping that down and then rounding it through. Now we're going to combine that breath. It's an inhale as you drop your heart slightly down. Your eye gaze maybe lift slightly. And on the exhale, you're rounding your spine, you look towards your knees. Inhale, you drop your belly, your eye gaze lifts. Now if you've got that ball, on the exhale, as you're rounding your spine, can you just find that slight squeeze of those knees, squeeze that ball. Inhale, you release that squeeze for the ball. And then exhale, you find that slight squeeze. So I'm just using that inhale and exhale, that squeeze of that ball to engage through your pelvic floor. So on that exhale, you're squeezing that ball, you're trying to feel that engagement through your pelvic floor as it lifts all the way up. And on that exhale, inhale, you just drop it all the way down. Final one like this. Exhale, find that rounding, find that engagement. Inhale, release. Just have a pause, find a moment, find a midpoint between those extremes. Now we're going to inhale, sink back towards your heels. Exhale, you rock all the way forward. So your pelvic floor has to work to allow yourself to do this in a supported way. So you inhale, you sink down. If you've got that ball, on that exhale, you can add a slight squeeze of that ball. Doesn't matter if those shoulders are slightly over those wrists, that can feel quite nice. So you inhale, you sink back. Exhale, come forward, option to squeeze that ball if you've got it there. I'm just thinking about that pelvic floor. So it's that exhale, you come forward, you're going to have that slight engagement through your pelvic floor, squeezing that ball if you have that ball. And when I'm saying squeezing that ball, it's just a light squeeze. We're not kind of squeezing as hard as we can, just a gentle squeeze, that gentle engagement. Your breath will be unconsciously engaging that pelvic floor, but it's just trying to make that movement a little bit more mindful. Final one like this. We inhale, we sink down. We exhale, we rock all the way forward. Have a quick release, just come into a seated position and just roll out through your legs. And then release the other side. Okay, bring that hand in. You'll do the opposite to me. Your hands, the ball's going to come into your left hand and your right leg is going to go out long. Okay, so bring that hand down. If this feels too much, you can just drop down onto your elbows and just do this in a single leg. If we can, that hand is reaching forward with or without the ball. Shoulders back and down. Take a deep breath in to prepare. On that exhale, we're going to lift your arm and leg long, pointing those toes. And then we slowly lower. So we exhale, we lift. We inhale, we drop down, pointing those back toes. You're looking towards the front edge of the mat as you lift. And then you sink down. We're trying to just keep that pelvis, that back really nice and still. So try not to rock and roll. That means it's not going to be the biggest move you've ever done. Just trying to control that as we lift. And then we drop down. Let's go for 3 more like this, looking towards the front edge of the mat. 2, keep pointing those back toes. Final 1, hold there. It's like you're superheroes, you are superheroes. And can you give me small pulses up and down for 3, 2, hold up on that next one, drop that ball, hand comes down. Can you drop that right leg down? And just give me small rocks forward and backwards. This should feel really nice to find space and length in through the back of your calf and a bit of movement in through your foot. Depending on where you are in pregnancy, because you're carrying that bit of extra weight as you're growing a baby, you can get sore calves and sore feet. So this can feel really nice to just loosen it out. Heel goes back, just hold there, maybe draw that heel slightly further away. Then rock forward so your weight is over your hands and you're going to find a mermaid. So your left leg that's in front is going to bend and your right leg's going to draw behind. Your ball might have gone the A-ball like mine. If you've got that ball, just grab that ball and it's going to come on the same side as that bent front leg. Okay. That hand's going to come on that ball just gently. The opposite hand's going to reach out. Can you take a deep breath in? I want you to feel like you're lifting up slightly towards the ceiling. And on that exhale, I want you to float over towards that bent knee side. And that ball maybe just assists you as you reach all the way over. We then slowly glide all the way up. So take an inhale to prepare. Exhale, you're reaching over. Inhale, hold that stretch, hands reaching overhead. Exhale, come all the way up. You either stay like this, or I'm just going to add some rotations, but only if it feels good. Take a deep breath in. On that exhale, you reach over. On that inhale, maybe that top hand turns. You turn, you twizzle, you look towards the mat. You unravel, you look towards me, and then you come all the way up. So that should feel really nice to open up through your kind of back bra strap, back ribs. So you reach up and over. We rotate, you look down towards the mat. You unravel, you look forward, and then we come all the way up. Let's go for 2 more like this. Turn, find that twist. And it doesn't matter what that supporting arm is doing. For me, it's definitely got a generous bend in it. On the mat, it might be a bit straighter if you don't have that ball. The next time you turn, you hold there. Can you bring that free hand down on the mat? The other hand is going to come to meet it. Just let that ball go away. Okay, if this feels good, you stay here. Doesn't matter if that back bum is lifted a bit. Pushing that mat away. We're going to maybe find a bit of a cat-cow. It can be a really small movement depending on your bum. You inhale, you lift your chest up. You exhale, you round your spine. If this doesn't feel comfortable, just depending on where you are in pregnancy, you can just go back to one of the previous options for your mermaid to just have a bit of a play around. Then find that midpoint between those extremes. Slowly bring that top hand up. Find that T-shaped position of those arms and find that counter stretch. Hand comes down, opposite hand reaches up. Come back to center. We're just going to do a stretch. I'm just going to bring that ball with me just so we don't lose it too much. We don't need to have the ball. Ball for me is going to be in between my knees and my knees are wide. From there, can you draw your hands all the way back behind you, allowing yourself to lift that chin slightly, maybe feeling like you've got a little bit of a back bend. Then we're going to release those hands, but circle those hands in front of you and really look down towards your belly button, pushing those hands all the way away, finding that space. And then reaching all the way up towards the ceiling and yawn your body all the way open. Okay, we're going to come onto that mermaid on the opposite side, just do a few shoulder rolls. And then we're going to go over towards the opposite side. So if you're mirroring me, your right foot is forward, your left leg is back. That ball is underneath your right hand, so that bend knee side. Otherwise your hand is just on the ground. Arms come down into that T shape. Take a deep breath in, finding a lift, finding length through that spine. On that exhale, you lean up, you lean over, hand comes all the way overhead. You then slowly roll yourself up. That ball may be assisting you. I'm just going to show in case you don't have that ball. So you're going to reach up and over, just bending into that bottom hand. And then we come all the way up. So your hand is still going to come in and out. That ball's just allowing you to get that movement in a bit of a supported way, but neither is better than the other. It's just nice to mix it up sometimes. So it's an exhale, you reach over. This time on that inhale, can you rotate, look down towards that mat? So that top hand is just coming to the outer edge of that knee. You unravel, you look forward, and then you come all the way up. So you exhale, you reach over. You inhale, you find that twist, think back of those ribs. You then slowly come all the way up to that seated position. If you want to do that cat-cow, the next time you come down, you rotate, you look towards the mat. Hands come down on the mat, they're going to be quite nice and wide. We inhale, you drop your belly slightly, your eye gaze lifts into a slight extension. And on that exhale, you're rounding your spine, finding that kind of curvature of that lower. Do a couple more like this. Final one, if that feels good. Reach that top hand up. Draw it all the way back and find that counter stretch. Hand comes down, opposite hand reaches up and over. Come back into that center point. And then we're going to find that 4-point kneeling on the opposite side. So turn, face the opposite side. The option is there once more to have that ball in between those knees. We're going to come back into those cat-cows. So ball in between your knees potentially. From here, we're going to drop your belly, your eye gaze is going to rise. And then your eye gaze will drop, and then lift your belly up. Inhale, your pelvic floor releases. On that exhale, your pelvic floor engages. Maybe have a slight squeeze of that ball if you've got that in between your knees. Inhale, pelvic floor releases. Exhale, you have that slight engagement as it lifts up. Maybe slight squeeze of that ball. So that ball's just kind of an external way to fill and engage through that pelvic floor. Find that midpoint between those extremes and hold there. Now we're going to find those rocks. So we inhale, we sink back. It's like those bumps are coming towards those hills. We exhale, we come forward, maybe adding that slight squeeze of that ball. It feels quite nice for me. Draw my shoulders over the wrist to find a bit of a stretch. So we inhale, we sink back, your eye gaze is forward. We exhale, maybe a slight bit of engagement as you come all the way through. 2 more like this. Final one, inhale to sink back. Exhale, we come up, we come through. Okay, hold there. Just come and turn your palms down so you can kind of find a bit of space, a bit of a stretch into those wrists, or you can shake them out if that feels better for you. And then just reach those hands all the way down and just turn those fingers towards you. Just have a little bit more of a stretch. Sometimes it's nice to rock forwards and backwards. It can feel quite intense. So just have a play around. You can of course otherwise just come and shake out your hands. That ball is going to come into your opposite hand, so your right hand. And your left leg is going to go long. You've got those bird dogs. You're pushing the mat away with that bottom hand. Remember, you can drop both your elbows down if that feels better for you. You point those back toes, you reach that hand on. Take a deep breath in. On that exhale, we lift. We know that's now engaging through that pelvic floor. We inhale to release. So our pelvic floor is so incredible. It's going to be engaging doing these moves regardless, because it's going to have to keep you really nice and stable, especially through your lower back. But just by combining that breath, we're making sure we're really helping our pelvic floor out and helping to engage it. Really nice. So it's an exhale to lift, inhale to lower. Eye gaze towards the front edge of the mat. Let's go for 2. Final one, hold there. Reach everything long, really small pulses up and down for 3, 2. Hold up on that next one. Drop that ball, hand comes down. Can you tuck those back toes and rock forwards and backwards, finding that calf stretch. Just finding that space for the back line of that leg. Movement through those toes. The next time you glide back, hold there. Okay, can you see, if this feels too much, come onto your knees, but if you can, you're going to lift up, you're going to find a plank position. From there, push the mat away, lift your hips up and glide back. If this feels too much, come back into that 4-point kneeling position and slowly ease yourself up into standing. If you're in that downward dog position, we're going to pedal out those heels one at a time. Find length, both of your heels are down. Slight bend through your knees, walk your hands back towards your toes and find that forward fold. Nod your head yes. Shake your head no. And then slowly ripple all the way up to standing. At that top point, shoulders roll back. Shoulders roll forward. Okay, we're going to find a sumo squat. We're going to finish in standing. So in that sumo squat, your feet are really nice and wide. Your toes are shining away, so opposite ends of the mat. Can we maybe bring those hands up into a T shape? We're going to inhale, we sink down. On that exhale, we push through your feet. You're going to reach one hand up and over. Inhale to sink. Exhale to reach up and over. So pelvic floor once again is engaging. As you exhale, you're finding that lift. It feels really intuitive here, because on that exhale, you're really pushing yourself up. You're feeling that lift. And your inhale, you're sinking, you're relaxing that pelvic floor. So we lift and then we lower. Really good. Let's go for 4. Then we're going to meet down. In 3. Keep breathing. Exhale as you lift. Finding that nice twist at the top. Coming down, hold there, arms are long, sink nice and low. We're going to go for really small pulses up and down. So still do an exhale to lift, inhale to lower for 3, 2, 1. Hold all the way down, sink deeper, shoulders roll back, sink a little bit lower. Building that strength in through your body for 3, sink deeper, 2, 1, reach all the way up. Circle those arms down and you're going to rotate to one side, so rotate to your right hand side. Okay, I want you to step that back leg forward so both of your heels are down. Finding a nice calf stretch, bend through your right knee, but both of your heels are down. And now lift that arm up, same side as that bent knee. You should feel a really nice calf stretch through the back of that leg. Your torso is pretty high here, but you can have a slight lean forward if that helps with balance. Breathing into this stretch. Sometimes it's nice to kind of pulse it up and down a little bit, and then you can feel like you're sinking your heels slightly further back. Slowly come back to center, drawing yourself to turn to face me. Okay, from here we're going to bring your hands onto your hips. Take a deep breath in. On the exhale, can you lift up onto both of your heels? Inhale to sink down. This is really good, feeling that zipping up through your pelvic floor as you come up onto your tiptoes. You sink down. I can always really feel my pelvic floor in this move. So you're lifting up, you're coming onto both of your tiptoes. You sink both heels down at the same point. Let's go for 3 more. If this feels too much, you can go to single heel as well. 2. Next time you're up, hold all the way up. Can you come a little bit higher? Take a deep breath in. Deep breath out. Final one. On that next inhale, sink all the way down and turn to face the opposite way. So maybe your left leg is forward, your right leg is back. Step that back leg in so both of your feet are down. We bend through your front knee, so your left knee, and that hand reaches up, so same side as that bent knee. Just make sure your hips are shining forward. Really nice stretch for that back calf, and the options there to pulse that heel up and down. Find that end range, your heel is down, find a slightly deeper stretch, make sure those hips are square. You're then going to come all the way back up, turn to face me. Can we do one big reach of those arms? So you're going to bend your knees, hands come down towards your knees, reach those hands up, interlace your hands, the top you reach up and over to one side. Hands are kind of directly over your head, so you're not kind of leaning forward and back. You come back to center, reach up and over towards the opposite side. Coming back to center, really big reach towards the ceiling. Release those hands, circle those arms out, around and down, shoulders roll back, shoulders roll forward. Give yourselves a massive smile. Thank you so much for joining me on the mat today. I really hope you enjoyed that class.